Hello, I'm Rafiq Mansuri, and you're listening to the No Grace Period podcast. Today is Monday, February 13th, and I'm broadcasting from Albuquerque, New Mexico today. On this podcast episode, I'm just going to ask my audience to let me have an Aquarius moment. And what I mean by that is let me, if you will, just let me space out like Aquarians do. Let me go into that space that's half genius, half insane in the way that Aquarians are known to think. If you let me do that, I'd be forever grateful to my audience, because on my way to Albuquerque last night, I think God spoke to me. I think God spoke to me last night in a way that has never been so vivid. And what that information was about, it was about nature and the design of nature. More specifically, the precision of that design. The precision of it. The exactness of that design. The human body. The plants. My goodness. When you think about the precision of the design, it's so exact that it's almost scary. When you look at the human body, the processes in the human body, the makeup of the human body, we are walking masterpieces. We are walking masterpieces when you look at this thing. Let me ask you a question. What device in your household has electricity that's not hooked up to a power source? I'm going to ask you again. What device in your household has electricity inside of it and is not hooked up to a power source? It's not hooked up to a wall. It doesn't have batteries in it. It's not hooked up to a generator. None of that. It's just standalone, and it has electricity inside of it. You probably can't name a device in your household that has that, right? Humans, we have electricity inside of us, in our hearts, in our brains. Electricity flows through our nerves, throughout the body. Just think about that. Electricity. And we walking around not hooked up to a power source. We're not plugged up to nothing, but we have electricity in us. Let's talk about the epiglottis for a moment. The epiglottis is a small flap of tissue that covers up the trachea whenever we eat or drink. And if I'm incorrect in saying that, then I'll, go back and do my research and just make sure I'm telling you guys the right thing. But if my memory serves me correctly, the epiglottis covers up the trachea so that when we eat and drink, our food won't go down our windpipe. Think about that. That is precision in design. Think about that. Just think. Just take a moment and let that marinate. You inhale. You can inhale in two ways: through your mouth and through your nose. Right? You can get air into your body through your mouth and through your nose. Water or liquid and food through your mouth. Each and every time you eat and drink, a little flap of tissue stops you from choking to death. That is design. That's a design, baby. That's design. And that is precision in design. Let me ask you another question. Can you imagine being 30, 35, 40 years old, suspended in water with a mucus plug in your mouth and in your nostrils, receiving all your nutrients through your belly button? Let that hit you over the head for a second. Can you imagine being an adult with your nostrils and your mouth plugged up, suspended in water, receiving all your nutrients through the umbilical cord, through what would be your belly button? Do you see the precision in that design? If you're an adult and you can't swim, you can't just go out to a body of water and just jump in the water. You'll drown. We come into this world suspended in water. And our Creator made it so that through the placenta and through the umbilical cord, that baby gets all the nutrients it needs from the mother. That baby is not in the womb eating through the mouth. The Creator said, you know what? Nah, we gonna get you an IV. All your nutrients is coming through an IV, straight into you through the umbilical cord. Think about creation itself. Think about how the reproductive organs are made, right? Without getting too graphic, one is made to insert into the other. Now, from what I understand, up until a certain point in human development, male and female pretty much are the exact same. They have the same organs, right? When you look at like a diagram, basically the reproductive organs they look the same. But then at a certain point in development, a divergence takes place and the male reproductive organs develop into our equipment and the female reproductive organs develop into their equipment. But up until a certain point, if I'm not mistaken, if my information is correct, if my memory is correct, we look the same up until a certain point. Now, you tell me if that's not precision in design, where at a certain point, at the correct time, at the designated time, our Creator said, okay, you go this way and you're going to be this sex, and you go that way, you're going to be that sex. That's precision in design. Hello, this is Rafiq Mansouri, and you're listening to the No Grace Period podcast on February 13th, 2023, broadcast from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Let's continue with our talk about this wonder called the human body, right? Say a person is having a terrible day. They're having a terrible day, and they're not the most mentally strong person, right? They may not even be the most bright person. They say, you know what, man, forget it. I'm tired. I want to end it all. I don't want to live no more. I'm just going to lay down and stop breathing, right? So they go somewhere, lay their butt down, and try to just hold their breath, thinking that if they hold their breath long enough, or if they just exhale and just don't breathe no more, they'll just peacefully leave this realm, right? They'll just peacefully die. If they try that, guess what's going to happen? They run the risk of passing out. But if they pass out, guess what's going to happen? They're going to start breathing. You can't end your own life by design. I mean, granted, you take other measures, you can take yourself up out of here, right? But in the most simple manner, where if you just try to stop breathing, you're going to pass out. You're going to pass out. And that involuntary part of your nervous system is going to kick in and you're going to start breathing. Come on, man. That's not just precision in design. That is excellence in design. While we sleep at night, we're unconscious. We have no idea what's going on in the world that we know while we're operating in our conscious mind, right? We sleep. We are unconscious. Our heart's still working, the brain's still working, the liver's still working, the kidney's still working, the heart's still working, the blood still flowing. The systems are all continuing to operate automatically. They continue while we're unconscious. Our brain waves go into a different state while we're asleep. That electricity I talked about on part 1, those brain waves go into a different state while we're asleep. The body repairs itself. The body repairs itself while we're asleep. It repairs itself. All we have to do is live in accordance to the design of nature, and the body will repair itself. Come on, man. That is so precise. That's a design like no other. We have some of the strongest acids known to man right in our stomachs. Right? But if the acid is that strong, why doesn't it burn through the stomach altogether? Because the stomach is made of tissue that can contain that acid. But don't get it twisted. That acid in our stomach is extremely strong. Extremely strong acid right inside of our bodies to digest our food. We have, I think they call it the microbiome, where like the bacteria in our stomachs, they help regulate many things in our gut. These are living organisms that exist in our bodies. We can't see it with the naked eye, but they're there. And they help keep everything balanced inside our gut so we don't feel sick. Our eyes, let me ask you this question. Our eyes, the way we see the world, right? If you got a healthy, normal functioning set of eyes, right? Do you see the world in black and white? You don't see the world in black and white, do you? Do you see the world in low resolution, meaning pixelated or like staticky, like when you used to have the analog TVs and you get a static channel, fuzzy? Do you see the world that way if you have a healthy functioning set of eyes? No, you see the world in full high definition color. The eyes are made to break down light into the different wavelengths that we call color. We talking Roy G. Biv here. Remember Roy G. Biv? What was that? Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, what, indigo, violet, or something like that. Your eyes breaks down light into those different wavelengths so we can see this world in beautiful high definition color. Our Creator didn't want us not to be able to see our world in the most beautiful way, in full color. Our bodies have a liver and we have kidneys to filter out the impurities in our body. We sweat. When we sweat, impurities can also be released from the body through our pores. So to me, that means in that regard, our body is kind of a closed system where only specific things belong in our bodies in the first place. And anything that doesn't belong there, the body has systems to get that, to get those toxins out of the body. Come on, that's a design. We not hooked up to a pump. I mean, granted, if you're on dialysis, then that's what that is. Your kidneys can no longer function correctly to remove toxins from the body. If my knowledge is correct, I think that's what that whole deal is with dialysis. But a healthy functioning set of kidneys and your liver, they're the filters of the body. Your body comes with its own filters so that everything in the body remains clean. The blood remains clean. I mean, this thing is absolutely amazing. When you think about it, when you think about how many bones are in the body and the way that these bodies can move, bend and stretch and jump and lift, the fact that we can stand erect on 2 feet and that we not crawling around on all fours, the fact that our necks hold our heads at the end of our necks. Our heads are not dropping around, flopping all over our shoulders and our collarbone. No. The neck, the muscles in the neck and the spinal cord hold our head at the end of it. Just think about that. Think about if the neck wasn't structured in the way it was and the head didn't have support at the end of the neck. Our head would just flop around like we didn't have a neck. We couldn't look straight ahead because we couldn't look straight ahead of us because we wouldn't have anything to support our head to hold our eyes at the correct angle to look in the front of us. We would constantly be walking around with no choice but to look at the ground. Just think about how beautifully this thing is designed. When you think about the joints and the way they're designed to fit inside of each other. Think about the fact that your skull protects your brain. Your skull protects the central processing unit of your body. Your brain is not just laying up under the skin. It has a protective cover. And the different parts of your brain are assigned to different functions in your body. Conscious and unconscious, meaning voluntary and involuntarily. There's functions in our bodies that we don't control, not through our conscious mind. That right there should let you know that there is a supreme creator behind this. There's functions in our body we have absolutely no control over. Reflexes in our body. Operations in our body that we don't control. You know, mankind, we want to be in control of everything. You know, we want to control it all. But if you sit down and give this thing any thought, we're not in control. We're not. There's an aspect of our existence that the Creator is in control. The Creator is in control of every aspect of our existence, but there's some aspects of our existence that if you look at that, you have no choice but to acknowledge your Creator. You know, so I can go on and on and on and on about the wonders of the human body. You know, how we have a relationship with the world around us in terms of we breathe in oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide. The plants, they need carbon dioxide and they expel oxygen. Therefore, we were made not to exist in a vacuum, but we have a codependent relationship with plants. We need them. They need us. And we're not even going to start going into plant intelligence. That's a whole nother head trip that I think even the scientists are really just getting into, if I'm correct in saying that. Because the plant world, I strongly believe that there's intelligence coded into plants as well. So, you know, wrapping this thing up, I'm a truck driver and I drive very long distances alone. And sometimes when I'm alone like that, I get what some may call epiphanies. But that feeling I got last night and the things that I was able to see in my mind's eye last night as I was driving, I'm going to say God spoke to me last night. And God was just reminding me of how wonderfully precise God's creation is. It's really an amazing creation. And I'm thankful for it. My name is Rafiq Mansouri. This is the No Grace Period podcast. As always, I appreciate your time. Thank you for listening. Take care.